Who she saw, cross-examination. On guard, I remember. Would you please get on with your testimony? Watch your language, young man. What sort of tone was that to take with an elder? Wow, she admitted it. My youthfulness isn't what it used to be, so you should forgive me for everything. If you keep on barking at me like that, I'll start singing at the top of my lungs. What? A striking figure by the sea, standing all alone is he. He's a nickel samurai. She's actually singing. Someone help my poor ears. Mr. Edgeworth, can you please do something about this racket? Witness, I'll give you a piece of gum later if you're good and stick to the facts. Okay, you promise, right? You'll give me a good gumming, or should I give you the gumming? That's old bag giving a blowjob to Edgeworth.
I could tell.
See?
Yeah.
She has no teeth.
Yeah.
She takes out her teeth so she can do it. Right, I'll be sending a bill for the chewing gum to your office at a later date. Remind me to send you a thank you note later too, Edgeworth. Old chum. Nightmare fuel.
Nice.
The Nickel Samurai. That's right, it was the Nickel Samurai. Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not long ago, you said he'd be wearing his racing jacket, and now he's not? Not too long ago. Then let me ask you this. When you were itty-bitty, what was your grand dream? Huh? What did you want to be when you grew up, whippersnapper? My dream, huh? Well, I wanted to be Judge Wagner, hero of the public's court. So what? He really did want to be a lawyer. And then eventually become a judge. See? And look at where you are now. You're not a Judge Wagner, are you? Are you? Well, what I said earlier. Who puts any weight into things like that? The now is everything. I can't be held responsible for the past.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck. Since when did the court become theatrics over testimonies? Since basically ever in this game. All that matters is the man that was in the costume. Isn't that enough? Judge Reinhold. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear the costume. And why would that be? That way no one could see his face, of course. But there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you would think that the costume would make him stand out all the more. You are such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say. Isn't that what you're always doing to me? I got it, maybe it was more troublesome for him to get changed in and out of his costume. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show. Was there anyone else scheduled to appear at the post-ceremony stage show? Well, all the contestants were supposed to go on stage in a friendly gesture thing. And that included the Jammin' Ninja. Of course it included him. That's why when Mr. Ungard came out of Dear Juan's room, I didn't give it a second thought. I see. Well, anyway. So he must have worn that Nickel Samurai costume when the stabbing poor Juan. So let me ask you one last time. The person you saw, it really was the Nickel Samurai? As showy as ever. I haven't been saying that from the very beginning. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning? Can I throw in the towel yet? You don't need to think too hard on this one. Huh? There's a contradiction in her testimony. It's sitting right in plain sight. The question is what that contradiction means for us. Well, I have to figure out what you're talking about first, but okay. All right, so, okay, not that. I mean, that right there is enough for me. I would say, case in point, everybody, she saw the Nickel Samurai, she did not see the man.
Yeah.
Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show. He must have worn the Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan.
Safe. But don't we don't have to present anything here. We just need to
Yeah, we gotta
her.
present something. We gotta contradict her. We pressed her on everything. We gotta contradict something.
Oh, go to the picture of the Nickel Samurai.
Just to show that he wears a mask?
Yeah.
That should be enough?
Well, check it. Yeah, maybe.
You'd think so.
You would think so.
That's a good call.
So what do we do it on? Like,
Yeah. That one?
Oh.
I think that one.
Yeah.
that's the most definitive, like, statement
Yeah.
she makes.
Objection or take that?
Top one.
Fuck it. Objection! No. Fuck. Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. It does? I don't see anything contradictory.
Well, it does.
Huh? Really? Objection denied.
Oh.
Try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Wright. Fuck me. Whoops. That didn't go so well. Let me look through all the evidence, I guess.
Oh. No.
Wait a minute.
What?
Post-ceremony stage show. What about the conference? Those are two different things. He
No.
had to go to this. Press conference, not post... Yeah,
You think so?
after the post-ceremony stage show, he was going to confess that. Never mind. So it doesn't contradict itself.
Yeah, did you go to that post-ceremony stage show? Right after the crime.
Can we prove it would have been inconvenient for him to wear the costume during the murder?
Well, it doesn't matter because we presented that on this. Oh wait,
No
it wasn't on
fingerprints.
this.
Again, like, there's so many things we can prove just by showing this photo
Yeah.
and say, if he
Well,
committed
yeah,
the
yeah, we already
murder,
showed the fucking
no
photo.
fingerprints would have been on anything with this costume, because it has gloves. Old Bag couldn't have seen the face. It's like, what tree should we be barking up right now? The fact that she couldn't see his face, or the fact that there wouldn't have been fingerprints? Or is it something completely unrelated right now? Or, like, they want us to look at something even more minute first? That is not... Okay, let's deduce first.
Okay.
There's no way we contradict
no.
that. That's just a statement. That is the
Maybe.
prime candidate, in my opinion.
But this
And
one
maybe this too.
also.
We can't contradict that, in fact, because we agree with that. She saw the Nickel Samurai, not Matt on guard.
Yeah,
So
That's
there's
true.
no way we can say you didn't see the Nickel Samurai.
that's true.
She did.
Yeah.
That's not a contradiction then. It would have been convenient for him to wear the costume during the murder. We do not agree it would have been convenient, but that's kind of
points beside what we care about, but okay, whatever. Let's keep that
It
one in
might be
mind.
that one.
He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know. That can't be contradicted. That's true. He did have to go to a post-ceremony stage show. So he must
Even
have
though
worn
he didn't know about it.
the nickel costume when he was stabbing poor Juan. We can't contradict that. That's...
I think it must be
Wait.
the...
Use the picture with this one, maybe. Because that mentions the stabbing.
and the fact that
Yeah.
he has gloves.
Yeah.
So if he wore it...
Oh, maybe.
Oh, shit. Skip this. Yeah.
You can press B, eh?
Oh, yeah. Is there any other evidence that could be better than showing the photo?
I don't know. Well,
The
other
knife?
than the fact that the knife has fingerprints, I don't know.
There's not enough blood at the crime scene to say that, like, his costume didn't have blood on it, so there's no way he wore it when he committed the murder. It's not like splatters of blood, it's just a little bit of
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, these are irrelevant right now. Could we present this instead of the photo?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
present
don't
this.
know. Okay.
Yes! Please take a look at this knife.
Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. You're trying to scare me with that. I'll have you know it won't work.
No, that's not my intention at all. That's the knife that used in the murder, correct? I think this is still a flimsy angle to go down. Mm-hmm. Anybody could take off their glove to finish him or
Yeah.
to do whatever he does in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Of course, one would also counter, why would he do that? So, we haven't even brought up why someone would post-stab the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
As if, like, the judge was ready to make a ruling with that
Well.
evidence sitting out there.
It's Phoenix, right?
Unless it was specifically to frame, but we haven't brought it up or anything.
But that's
that's
the
that's
thing.
probably what it is.
That's the only way that would happen is
Yeah.
for a framing. No murderer would stab a guy after for no goddamn
Yeah.
reason. That should be like
Yeah.
have been brought up like square one. All right, Your Honor, but Phoenix is not allowed to initiate evidence. He's only allowed to counter with evidence. Do you know why this piece of evidence is important to the case?
You don't even have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it.
Is that why you're driving at? What you're driving?
This is exactly what I'm driving at.
What are we driving at? And whose car are we driving?
Oh, Grandpa.
If Mr. Ungard was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been on this knife.
No, I can think of scenarios. Especially that he could have carried the knife within the glove, taken off the glove, and then stabbed, and then put it back on. But again, this wasn't the murder weapon, so it doesn't fucking matter. Actually, he would have wiped the previous fingerprints off on this. You can't prove that. He's saying that wearing a glove while wielding the knife would wipe any fingerprints off of it.
Rabble.
Oh, that's right. The Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he?
He probably took his gloves off right before he began the stabbing.
and why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon?
Yeah, Edgeworth.
There's no way he'd do something like that. Well, if I were Edgeworth right now, I'd say prove it.
Yeah.
Prove he wouldn't do something like that. However, there is one possibility.
Then let's hear your possibility.
It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the Nickel Samurai. At the time, the defendant had no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Why'd he bring the knife then? You just used that as proof earlier. Which is why he took off his gloves.
But the murder still did take place.
It's well known that the defendant and the victim had bad blood between them.
Yes, I have heard of that. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Edgeworth's theory?
So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intentions of killing him. Now, up to this point, there are no problems with this theory.
There's a contradiction!
There's a contradiction. This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. What are you blabbing about? Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Edgeworth was the killer.
Okay.
Mr. Ungard was the killer. I'm sorry, I'm having an aneurysm, Your Honor. Was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's possible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without It's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent.
Present the knife again? Yeah.
Take that! This knife, this was used by Mr. Ungard at dinner.
Yes, we did establish that. What's your point?
Which means that if my client was in fact the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Corrida, which we just fucking established. I suppose. However, you just said yourself that at the time, the defendant held no intent to murder. See, what I think is that there's a contradiction there, because earlier we said that he did have intent to murder. And in fact, you just said that he didn't. And that's why I think that you're probably not right. This is just what I'm saying. Please? If that were true, then why did he bring the knife? He wouldn't, would he? Am I right? Did I win? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition one. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over the, like bees on a hive. And that brings me to my final point.
You're on a roll.
Why haven't you called? This knife was planted by the real killer to hide the identity and mislead us.
Oh, there you go.
Finally, he fucking brings it up.
Yeah.
Order, I say! Order in the court! Was this knife really planted by the killer?
Well, okay, guys, it's not the murder weapon!
Why would the murderer do such a thing?
To hide the murder method. And
Just frame that
to
up.
both.
God,
To frame.
really,
It's both.
Really both, but I think it's to frame him.
well, I'm worried now because every time I'm sure of something like this, it ends up
think it's
being
Well,
like
then
to frame
save.
too.
Oh, you can't right now, can you?
it'll be like we're getting ahead of ourselves by saying it wasn't her. To frame Matt on guard, my client, of course.
To frame.
Uh-oh. Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Grrr, witness! Looks like I made your life a tiny bit more difficult, huh, Edgy?
Oh.
Witness, did you or did you not see the Nickel Samurai?
Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but...
God damn it.
Are you saying you mixed up Mr. Ungard with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV?
But I mean, I can't really do anything about that. Look, I was waiting around in front of the doors because, well,
I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure. She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai. All right,
No,
then.
she's-
Who were you waiting around for, then?
The Gem and Ninja, man.
That's top secret. Outside of security. No, I think she was waiting for Andrea Andrews. She wanted to get to the bottom of what was going on between them.
Maybe. Yeah.
I have a feeling that you were waiting for Juan Corrida, am I correct, witness?
Ha, ha, ha. the way you think. You're
Aw.
a sad amateur with terrible case of nearsightedness.
Damn
Ouch,
it.
Becky.
Damn it, old bag.
Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of?
So, Old Bag was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corrida. Maybe, Phoenix, maybe the Old Bag was waiting around for that person. If it's who I think Mia's hinting at, it's certainly possible. Who could that person be?
I don't know.
Stay tuned.